Oh, welcome back, my gardening friends, to a look at my giant vegetables for the Malvern Autumn Giant Vegetable Show. And it's Saturday, the 24th of June. I just want to do a bit of a comparison, see how they're doing from year to year. First time I've grown the Kohlrabi. They're sort of doing quite well. I've done some in the polytunnel, some out, some have survived, some have died. The beetroot here got too warm in here, that's missing, but then that's given the Kohlrabi here room to grow, and this one's nicknamed Colleen. The Swedes. Hope you can just appreciate the size of some of these. But it's just good to keep an eye on them. Carrots did well last year, but not doing so good this time. But we've still got 2.5 months growing time. Let's have a look at the long roots. Major issues this year. I know what I've done wrong, but we'll learn from that. We had no beets germinate, so we've got parsnips, radish and carrots, and a salsify down there. I can't see the screen, so hopefully you can. Just to see if we can get see who can grow the longest, maybe for a world record. But they only grew that much last year, if you remember. But what I did, I sifted the compost. It was dry, I put it in dry, and then when I put the irrigation on, all the compost fell out. So realistically there might not be compost in there, so it's all going to be done by aquaponics, and I've got to water regularly on top of what's being given as a drip feed. I've found some more of the fly tip compost. This is the sort, the ordinary compost with the perlite in, similar to this. When I was digging down, I noticed that it was cocoa coir and perlite in the bottom half, but it does make a great addition when you've got new beds to mix with everything else that you've got. So we're in the netted cage. It's debris netting. That carrot will be replaced with a giant radish. This carrot still looks okay. And then we move on to the Mana cabbages. These are just ordinary cabbages. Their seeds no longer available, I think because they used to throw out the pups. The DT brand stopped selling it, but of course we want the pups because of the extra weight. Those posts I keep going by are what I've put in. Remember we had the snowfall and it collapsed it all. But these are just starting now to curl up. And again, this one at this end is a real good size. And there's very, very little pests bother with red cabbage. These are the reds that are outside, and they're not as big, but they may heart up better. Obviously, I can't see the middles of those very well, but we're regularly watering and regularly feeding. This is one of the giant Swedes that did split. Let's put my hand down there so you can see it's keeping to a good size, and all the extra growth there and there and there. Hopefully that will grow out and give it extra weight. This one's a little bit larger. I don't like touching the leaves because they do break quite easily. These were 2 carrots, now they're 2 giant radish. Gladiator F1 parsnip, exactly what I plant for eating, and hopefully they'll put on plenty of growth because we're feeding them. As you know, root crops like to go down and feed off everything that was put in 4 years ago, and I'm doing exactly the opposite. There's manure in there. I'm feeding with high concentrates of materials. These two here are getting comfrey as an extra, and these two here are getting manure runoff. Again, this is just an ordinary gladiator parsnip. This is a flaky. I believe you can just buy it as seed. So that's coming along nicely. Probably my best one is one of the beetroots. Yeah, that's just one beetroot there, and there's another one there. Because it's pretty well buried, you can see the amount of extra growth that's coming off those because we're feeding them really well. The one on the left we just showed you was the Graham Barrett, and this one's an Ian Beale. I say very difficult to physically see. Another gladiator F1 parsnip, and then another Ian Beale beetroot there. I'm trying to manage my rhubarb. I'm desperate for 3 really big sticks. These are ideal. They're going over now, so we'll be pulling those out. But I just want to try and encourage by feeding regularly now with manure runoff, and to see if we can get some fresh stalks coming out. That will give me 3 heavy stalks for that part of the show, which in my first year I got 6th, and ever since then I haven't done well at all. But it's taking part that counts. And of course, mentioned before, I've put this on the top to reduce the amount of rainwater that gets on them, because they are getting big, and if they get more water they'll want to grow even bigger, and they have to grow slowly but quickly, or they'll just split and go rotten. So I put this on just in time. More carrots here in these little boxes that we put up, and we've got 2 the giant radishes in here in the Vegega raised beds. Links are in the description below. Condor potatoes. I was told by an experienced grower of the condors that you need soil to grow giant potatoes, not compost and perlite and vermiculite and everything else. So this is basically just straight soil from around the fruit trees that we dismantled, and he says you must ensure that they grow upright and not fall over. So we've been stringing those up as well in those barrels. He did very well growing them in barrels, so it'll be interesting to see if I can get a big potato. Now you think of the farmers, they don't mess about with compost. They put it in clay, sandy soil, and they grow decent potatoes with very little work other than spraying and maybe a wee bit of fertiliser when they're first planted. So I've got my hopes up. So what I shall do, I shall start digging here towards the show. I've got some more pallet collars just arrived, so we'll start creating the beds like we said we was over here, because we can't get up here with the wheelbarrow for the leaves. And then I can move the soil from there to here, and hopefully we'll find the big one. So if we don't get no more compost this month, that'll take my total up to 33,430 litres to date, from 2014, when I first found my first, I think it was 20 litres, one single cloth bag that the cannabis growers unscrupulously dumped. And ever since then I've just been keeping a note, a mental note for the first few years, and then religiously now making a note, because these beds do take some filling. You know, we just need soil to add to that, and wood chips, 3-year-old wood chips, so these are rotting away nicely underneath. Can use those, leaf mould, and of course the manure. This beetroot has gone to seed. You see it's being attacked by the beet leaf miner, so that probably there we go, there's some more there. I might let it just go to seed anyway, save some seed. There's another swede there, I think that's another Ian Beale one, and that's out the ground. And then this is a different variety of Corobi, totally different. Lots and lots of legs on it. We'll call that one Jason. So this one's Jason and the other one's Colleen. But it may be growing funny, I don't know. But we'll let it continue growing. It might surprise me, like Jason always does. Raspberries everywhere. Struggling to keep up. One bin full. All sorts of things growing. If you turn this, there's all the white fungi stuff, and it's steaming away. So I should have lots of manure for next year, well rotted manure. And I wasn't sure there, but that was just a little drip. But the bees are enjoying the comfrey buzzing in my ear. I'm not sure whether you could hear that, you know, when they go into a flower and they make all those lovely noises. It won't be long before this one's cut down and added to this rather large comfrey pipe. And looking at this one, there's not so many bees about, so this one will be cut down this weekend and popped in the bin. And I can't believe how well it keeps rotting down. Once it starts rotting, you add the new, and it soon breaks down, and you get the concentrate liquid, which takes up a lot less room with the comfrey that we steep. We can just pop it into a container up there. So that's going to be better for me, I think, time-wise as well. Jerusalem artichoke grown in a bucket of stones. Yes, there was a little bit of organic matter in there, but not much. Weeds are growing, so so are the Jerusalem artichokes. It doesn't take long for the comfrey to recover, and it is spreading. This is the spreading variety, so we always have to be careful, keep on top of it. I've looked after these strawberries really well. We've had tulips growing in between them, whether that's a mistake or not, whether they need more food. But look at the ones that are growing as volunteers in the cabbage cage down the side of the netting. I'm just wondering whether they grow better in wood chips, you know. Getting a better harvest from those. Sometimes it's best to leave them alone and let nature find its own way. And for the first time in a fair few years, I've got some damage on the gooseberries, I've just noticed. Somebody commented about that. I use log ashes, and I've never had it since, but maybe I need to apply more log ashes. Let's see if I can find the culprit. Oh, here we go. I shall have to have words. walking around with the tablet still on. Apologies, my friends. Sometimes I think I've switched it off. Better than just cutting you off completely. But I'll put the playlist to the Malvern autumn shows on the end screen. And the silver skin onions are still growing well, just taking them as they get to the right size. Thumbs up, thumbs down for the interaction. Leave me a comment on anything. Lots and lots of picking to do. Happy gardening to you all. Till next time, my friends. Ta-ra for now.